Okay, gonna double check to make sure this time. Alright, good. Hello, my lovely little nightmares. I tried to record this video once already, and once I stopped recording after half an hour, I could not find the video in my recording program. I don't know what the heck happened, and that's very annoying. So, we're playing Trick and Treat by the Eternal Studios, I believe? This is a visual novel. It's very text heavy. We're gonna start all over again. Whew, okay. Here we go. I hate this. The sound of our steps combined with that of the occasional nocturnal animal is the only thing we can hear. It's terribly dark in this place. The dense vegetation makes it impossible to see the sky or light from the moon. Our flashlights are the only thing that light up our way. This thing is long. It has multiple endings though, so, there's that, which is cool. At times like this, one begs to not run out of battery. We walk without knowing what we are really looking for, or better said, for no reason. We are just a group of boys bored out of our lives, trying to create a lasting memory on this night instead of staying home doing nothing. Today is October 31st, All Hallows Eve, better known as Halloween. 3 young men walked through a dark, but up until now, nothing special force, me being one of them. We're doing it to prove our courage. It's too bad there isn't a girl here to see how brave we are. Seeing it like that, one could say this is a meaningless effort. For a moment, I stopped to look at my watch. It's 1:49 a.m. That means we have been walking aimlessly for more than 2 hours now. I'm sure that many people would find a place like this terrifying, but once you get used to it, the fear disappears, making it feel like normal. What makes us afraid of the dark is that we cannot know what hides in it, what lurks in the shadows, but this is clearly an empty darkness. At that moment, I sigh, feeling how tired my legs are. What is the point of being here? Clearly we had already demonstrated what we wanted. It would be best to return. I should tell them. I was about to speak when suddenly the atmosphere in the forest becomes strange. Suddenly a cold chill runs through my body. It was like any other chill, except it was not going away. For no reason, the air temperature dropped from one second to the other. So much so, my breath becomes visible, turning into mist. It doesn't end there. The air is now filled with a rotten smell that's a little short from being unbearable. The images of worms, flies soon appear in my mind, giving me a really unpleasant feeling. We all stopped in that moment. What's happening? I asked, confused while turning to look at my friends. With the expression on their faces, it was easy to know that they were just as lost as I was. It was then that we heard footsteps nearby that did not come from any of us. We all got dead quiet after that. I don't know if it was out of fear or to check if it was not a mistake, but we stayed motionless like statues without making a noise, just looking at each other's faces, wondering the same thing. What was happening? As if I could know. We heard the steps again. They clearly belonged to a human, or at least a large animal. There is something strange about them. It sounds as if the person walked dragging one foot. Just thinking about it made me shiver. Damn, what is happening? Damn, why is this happening? It makes no sense. We should have returned home before, but now it's too late to regret it. I have the feeling that we are being stalked by someone. The strange footsteps stop, but I'm still feeling the presence nearby. I don't know where it is, but I know that it's looking at me. That cursed thing is looking at me. My heart is beating anxiously. It's almost as if my body was telling me to get out of there. But strangely, my friends seemed unable to perceive it. It seems that it's gone. It must have been just an animal, said one of them, convinced we were safe. I would like to believe that too. We had a sigh of relief, however, bad luck would soon strike us again. Noted. Unexpectedly, the forest became darker than before in just the blink of an eye. But that wasn't the fault of the forest, but of our flashlights that went out. Out of the three, only one, mine, was still working. "What's going on? Did the batteries die?" asked one of them, scared, while they both beat them desperately as if that was going to revive them. I can't blame them. The idea of walking in the darkness is not pleasant for anyone. But after a few moments we had no choice but to resign ourselves to that. Once more the sound of our footsteps is heard. But the silence is different now. We're not quiet because we have nothing to say, but because we're afraid. We continue walking despite the fear that invades us. Visibility is almost zero, but we have no choice. In theory, we're walking back looking for the exit, but I cannot remember anything of this forest. We could be walking in circles, and I would never notice it until it's too late. I hate the thought of it. I just want to get out of it. Suddenly, my thoughts are silenced. I hear the footsteps from someone, or something. Once more, the three of us become statues, awaiting the presence to go. I hold my breath while feeling my heart beating anxiously. Damn, get away from here and leave us alone. Unexpectedly, the steps are heard closer. This time, they do not disappear, but rather come at us. I can't stand it. Desperately, I move my flashlight everywhere, looking for the author of those footsteps, hoping for the light to reveal their identity and erase our fears. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Is that all there is around here? Just empty air? My anxiety grows. With each failed attempt, I refuse to believe that it was a ghost. Suddenly, when I move the flashlight again, I see a silhouette. I could not distinguish what it was, but for a moment the light revealed something. Quickly, I pointed to the same place, only to discover it was gone. I hold my breath anxiously. It was not an illusion. I'm sure that I saw something. It was then that I hear something nearby. Without even thinking, I aimed the light towards that place. What I found leaves us paralyzed, with an expression of disbelief on our faces. It is a white cat with eyes of intense red, which stands before us. Her look is not the friendliest, to say the least. Somehow, I get the feeling it's a female cat. Suddenly she lets out a thunderous meow that leaves us terrified. It sounds more like a lion roaring than a simple cat. The echoes of her meow is heard throughout the forest, making it sound more sinister than it should be. Quick save? What is the quick save button? Q. Where's quick save save though? That's the real question. I will save here. Oh, hey, cool. Is that how that works? Okay then. I am a little confused. Whatever. The echo from meow is heard throughout the forest, making it sound more sinister than it should be. It was then that suddenly an inexplicable fear hits us three. I fell to the ground, and little by little my eyelids closed, the fatigue becoming unbearable. Why is my cat? I lose consciousness on the ground of the forest without knowing what was going to happen to me. I just fed him. I hope he doesn't ask for more food. Interlude before night falls. Oh boy, we're having a flashback. Flashback with Alex. It is a day like any other, so normal that it is almost painful. The only special thing that could be said about it is that it's October 31st. Far were the memories when I was a kid and went out with my friends to ask for sweets from house to house. Just remembering it made me sigh. I feel nostalgic. Some things were better when I was a child, or at least some things like that seemed like that. There were some who had good costumes, whether of superheroes or monsters. My friends and I, on the other hand, had to use our imaginations. Creativity was our costume, you could say, no matter how funny it could sound. I remember that my mother once painted red my face and told me that you will be the devil. But it seemed only she saw it that way. When I went from home to home, everyone said I was the Tomato Man. But those things didn't matter to me since we always had a good time. If I asked for candy now, even if I had the best costume, I'm sure no one would give me anything. except perhaps scolding for acting like a child when I'm 17 years old. But anyway, I can't stay in the past. I must live in the present, no matter how little exciting that might be. Back to reality, we're a group of friends who don't have any plans for today. We're still not old enough to go to a disco. I doubt guys as us would have any luck in that environment. The other option would be to go to a party, meet girls, and have fun. Everything's perfect, except for that nobody has invited us. Not being popular has disadvantages. Hey Alex, let's have a couple matches, what do you say? My friend Steven called my attention while playing with the game console. Rush Red, I believe that's what the game is called, a fast and quite complicated fighting game for me. I would normally agree to play with him, but for some reason, I don't feel in the mood today. I have a desire to play now. I replied with discouragement. I almost felt bad for doing it. Boring, there is no rival for me, Steven said with confidence. That you're playing on normal difficulty does not help your argument. I don't feel like losing, but if you want, you can challenge Alfred, I said, leading the attention to my other friend. I don't know how to play that, answered Alfred, doubting for a second. He is sitting behind the PC, but it seems that he isn't doing anything interesting. The screen only shows a lot of text. I think he's in Wikipedia. Hey, don't you have something more fun to do? I asked with discouragement, without even thinking about what he was reading. Alfred looked at me surprised. The actual problem of society is that people are not interested in discovering the history. He's one of those persuasive intellectuals, always looking for any rare information to appear smarter than others. When we forget our past mistakes, we're doomed to repeat them, he added later. What are you talking about? This village is small and its story is not interesting at all. Nothing exciting than normal has ever happened in it. Alfred laughed mockingly after hearing that. Your ignorance is worthy of praise. He pauses, filling his chest with pride. The very fact that it is a small town is the reason it's full of mysteries. Do you know that 20 years ago, on this date, a man disappeared? So, what about it? I asked without being impressed or even interested in the least. Things like that happen all the time in all places. As I thought, you don't know the history despite living in this very place, Alfred said while adjusting his glasses in an arrogant gesture. There's a legend behind the disappearance. That is what I was reading. After listening to him, I looked back at the computer screen with curiosity. It's then that I noticed that it is not Wikipedia, but some other page. Come on, read this and learn a little, Alfred said, inviting us to read what was on the screen. Both Stephen and I moved closer to read it. Town of Abingdon, Oxfordshire County, 1994. So this game takes place in 2014. Okay. I came to this town with only 4,000 inhabitants to support them in an investigation. I feel like 4,000 is quite a large number of people still. Not exactly a small town, but okay. Truth is that never in my life have I seen something this strange. I won't say your typical detective-ish nonsense. I've seen thousands of strange things in my life. I've seen many crimes, yes. Some difficult to solve, but all of them were human. Even if you don't know how they managed to perpetrate the crime, you know that they are people like anyone else. In this case, I don't think I'm able to say the same thing. How do you quick save? The truth is that I can't understand what happened. Ooh. I was called for the disappearance of a man named Matthew Garaham, 23 years, single. The last time he was seen, he was returning home from a Halloween party. He had drank alcohol, but was still sober, or at least that's what witnesses said. Anyway, this is not something which can be explained with a simple drunkenness. He apparently got lost on the way home and decided to enter the forest called Oakwood. It had rained yesterday, so the ground was wet and muddy. We could easily find his traces, which were leading deep inside the forest. Apparently, he walked for 3 hours before stopping. I say stop, but the truth is, we don't know what happened then. The track suddenly ended, in a clearing in the forest, and that's all. There was no evidence of struggle, no other trace or piece of clothing on the ground. There was no blood, no more footprints, or anything else. The depth of his last footprints and the position they were in indicates that he was still walking. At no point he stood still. It was as if he had vaporized in thin air, with all his clothes, in the middle of his walk. Obviously, I can't believe such a thing, but I can't give another explanation. The only thing I can remember is that near the footprints I sensed a faint smell of rot. However, there were no animal corpses nearby. It was ridiculous to think he suddenly started to decay and became earth. In the end, the case was closed in just 3 days. That's really short. With no evidence of any kind, we couldn't say anything but that he decided to escape from the village. However, while officially there was no more to do, I couldn't sleep in peace. Thinking about what could have happened to him took away my sleep. In my mind, I thought all sorts of theories. But maybe everything was a plan developed by Matthew, but in the end, they all seemed impossible. I decided to investigate more on the issue. I searched the town for similar stories, and to my surprise, I found 4 more. All young men. The story was always the same. They walked into the forest alone, disappeared without trace. Even more curious is that all of them disappeared on the same day, October 31st. But there's more. A detail that completely eliminates the possibility that there's a killer or kidnapper behind this, and that is the separation of the years. Roger Bacon disappeared in 1924. Michael Smith disappeared in 1867. Jason Black disappeared in 1813. And the worst of all, Oswald Taylor disappeared in 1707. It simply couldn't be possible. My curiosity led me to dig deeper. I thought that the answer may be in the past of the forest. It was then when I discovered that what seemed to be a simple and boring forest actually hid a great story. Before it was called Oakwood, or Oak Forest, the place was called Wychwood. The word Wyche has a huge similarity with witch, taking into consideration that it is an old name and language changes over time. That indicates that it was the Forest of Witches. Apparently more than 400 years ago, the people of the village believed witches lived in the woods. Unfortunately, almost all of the information is already lost. There were stories told in voice, without a proper written record. I just know that with the change of religion to Christianity, people stopped seeing the witches with good eyes and began to hunt them. Apparently, the last one before her death cast a curse on the forest, which even today should continue to exist. Anyway, obviously, I cannot accept something like that as the answer. In the end, I have no other choice but to accept that each one of them escaped from the village, using the legend of the forest to make it look like it was something supernatural. Interesting story. I didn't know that such a story was hiding in this town. I said, honestly surprised. Even if it is a lie, it managed to hold my interest. Wait, there's something more, Alfred said at the same time he scrolls to the comments. We read what is written there. A couple of comments call our attention. Both of them talk about some creature. At that time, they felt horrible fear for what could happen to them. Well, the 2 comments share great similarities, but they could have been written by the same person. There are many others that deny it. Looks like many people went to the forest because of the legend but couldn't find anything. I thought that you only read these things to look more cool before the girls, replied Stephen as a joke. Alfred giggled with a little shame. Partly, yes, he admitted it. That was a secret everybody silently knew. Well, now we have an activity for tonight, Stephen said. At the same time, he makes a face overflowing with enthusiasm. What? Wait, what? I asked, completely lost. I thought we were just killing time. Simple. Let's go to the forest, Stephen replied without hesitation. He seemed really fascinated by the story. Are you insane? Said Alfred, unable to believe what he just heard. You only needed to look at his face to know he did not like the idea. Despite everything you've heard, you want to go? Of course. It'd be a test of courage among us three, replied Stephen, full of confidence. Perhaps too much. You should relax a bit. Don't tell me you're afraid. No, why would I be afraid? Answered Alfred. At the same time, he folds his arms, making a false gesture of security. It's more than obvious that you are afraid, Alfred. Almost as much as when you have to talk to girls. And what about you, Alex? Don't tell me you won't come. Suddenly, Stephen asked me at the same time, looking at me mockingly. Don't tell me you want to be the chicken of the group. I hate that tone of voice he used. I will never give you that, I said without thinking, showing a confident smile and look. Well, let's not say more. Take your coats, backpacks, flashlights, and some food. We're going to the forest, Stephen said, full of energy. Yeah! We three said in unison, as if we were going to have some kind of private party, not really knowing what we were doing or what we were going to find. Oh boy. 2:13 a.m. I wake completely confused, not knowing how much time has passed. I'm gonna go and save. Yep. I wake completely confused, not knowing how much time had passed. My head hurts like heck, and I can't blame it. Fortunately, the pain goes away quickly, just as my confusion. Soon, I come back to my senses. My flashlight is lying on the ground, shining towards the empty air. I immediately pick it up. It was my only protection against the darkness that surrounds me. Then I remember that Stephen and Alfred were with me. Stephen! Alfred! Can you hear me? Without thinking, I screamed their names in the darkness while trying to find them with my flashlight. But there's no trace of them. They're gone. Where are they? What the heck just happened? I really don't understand anything. I like how this dude goes from saying hell to heck, okay, in the same sentence. Shit, we should have stayed at home. This is not proof of courage. We could be in danger. I have to find them. You go, guy. I believe in you. 2:19 a.m. Not that long. Little time has passed since I started to look for my friends, and I already can't stand this place. I'm going crazy in this forest. The darkness that covers it is unnatural. It is a darkness that steals your own sanity, replacing it with anxiety. To make it worse, the air is damp and cold, as in winter, carrying a strong rot smell, as if there were corpses of animals hidden throughout the forest. The atmosphere in this place is oppressive. With every step you take, it makes you more uncomfortable. Since I started to look for my friends, I felt that something is watching me, but there's nothing. I sigh with my voice full of frustration. I just want to get out of here. I continue walking, devoid of any hope. No matter where I look or how much I walk, I find nothing. I cannot even hear the sounds of animals. Rather, it seems they're already dead and rotting. No, I have to calm myself. I said to myself. I stopped for a moment to rest. I breathed deeply, but the rotten smell of this place does me no good. Immediately, I start to cough as if I had something stuck in my throat. Shit! What am I going to do? This cursed forest smell seems endless. I haven't said smells endless, oof. And even if by some miracle I could escape, I cannot abandon Stephen and Alfred. I'm really screwed up. Again, I sigh, feeling on the verge of tears. The frustration is building up, and I have to do my best to keep calm. If I fall into despair, then there is no doubt I will be joining the list of missing persons. In the end, I decide to keep walking. Step by step, I should get somewhere. At least, I was convinced that staying in the same place would not do me any good. Even if it was only to deceive myself, feeling that I am doing something, I wanted to continue walking. Time passes without any changes. Only the sound of my footsteps can be heard. Knowing that as soon as you stop, you will be surrounded by a dead silence is a good incentive to keep walking. But my legs were already hurting. Suddenly I hear a crack at my feet. Instantly, I take a step back and look below to see what made that sound. What is this? I whispered to myself, surprised discovering that I had stepped on animal bone. I believe that it's from an animal, although I do not rule out the possibility that it belongs to a person. But for my own good, I prefer not to think about that. An expression of anguish is drawn on my face. It is best to ignore it. I have to keep walking. Suddenly, my flashlight reveals something. Without hesitation, I point towards there again. Only to realize with surprise that it is the white cat. Okay, I have to save now. We're gonna delete these. We're starting over, so might as well. Okay, we're gonna save here because there's gonna be an option in a second. Here we go. Only to realize with surprise that it is the white cat. The one from before which made that awful meow, but this time I find it lying on the ground. It appears to be fainted and is wounded. Then what should I do? Okay, we're going to choose to pick up the cat, because I did that last time when I tried to record. It's best to continue without waking her up. I'm going to save right here with the choice of having picked her up. That cat is dangerous. It's her fault that I ended up in this place and my friends are missing. But even knowing that for some strange reason, I can't help but feel sorry for her. Even if it's unusual, it's still an animal. I then bend down to see her closer. She's unconscious and there's a thin line of blood coming from her mouth. I'm a real idiot, I said to myself at the same time I cleaned the blood from her mouth with a handkerchief that I had with me. Why do you have a handkerchief with you? Fortunately, she doesn't wake up. I then closed her mouth, making her appear a little better. Now she seems to be peacefully sleeping. After a long sigh, I decided to pick her up carefully. I don't know what the power of this cat are, but if she brought me here, maybe she can return me to my world. With her in my arms, I decide that the best thing I can do is continue walking. 2:31 a.m. Again, I find myself in the dark forest walking aimlessly, only moving forward, but it didn't seem I was getting somewhere. In my arms I carry the cat, which sleeps soundly. Come here, you'll be safe. I suddenly stop. It was probably easy to see the disbelief on my face at that moment. It's that voice again, I whispered to myself with no one to listen to me. Shortly after I found the cat, a mysterious voice appeared in my mind. It is a feminine voice, soft and gentle, as if it belonged to a princess from a fairy tale, but I can't trust it. Am I really going crazy, or is it this forest that doesn't make any sense? I don't know. I don't like any of the two options. I then feel the cat moving in my arms. I look down at her confused, just to see how she opened her red eyes suddenly. I become quiet in that instant. For a moment the two stayed motionless, staring into the eyes of the other. The red eyes of the cat are disturbing to me, but also there is something fascinating about them, something that attracts me. I lose myself in her eyes as if hypnotized, until suddenly she jumps with the intention of scratching my face. My reflex is to push her at the same time I jump back, turning my face to dodge her claws. I managed to dodge her attack, but in the process I dropped my flashlight. I panicked and acted clumsily. The flashlight falls near me, lighting up a tree in the vicinity. As soon as it left my hands, I remember how dense the abnormal darkness is. I quickly pick it up, not even thinking before taking action. Whew. I then light the place where the cat was, only to discover she had arched her back angrily, as if she feared an attack from me. Those red eyes stare at me, shining with the light of the flashlight as if they were jewels reflecting a fearsome hatred and rejection towards me. My body freezes after seeing them. I can't even think. The cat lets out a thunderous meow similar to the one before but weaker, although not any less frightening. There's no doubt there is something wrong with that animal. It must be cursed. Everything is her fault. She must be some kind of evil spirit, a pet of the witches. I feel how panic seizes me. My heart beats quickly, begging me to do something. My mouth is dry, my forehead covered with cold sweat. What should I do? Oh, frick, I didn't get a chance to save first. Well, guess we're stuck down whatever path we choose. Let's confront the cat. Might as well. I'm gonna real quickly save. I don't know which one is which. I think this is the one where I chose to pick up the cat. Might as well. Let's hope for the best. Hopefully, whatever. No, I should not despair. I have to calm down and think carefully about what I should do. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. We're gonna stop recording now, and we're gonna come back to this next time. Bye-bye.